In the lab, with a twist of fate, the cheese doctor's here, it's never too late. With a wheel of brie and cheddar so fine, he knows every flavor, every design. He's got the cures for every craving, from creamy goat cheese to sharp and amazing. No lactose, no problem, he's got the fix. Healing with cheese, oh, it's the ultimate mix. Oh, the cheese doctor, master of the curd, spreading joy with every bite, haven't you heard? From Gouda to feta and Parmesan too, the cheese doctor knows just what to do. In his white coat, with a smile so wide, he's got the knowledge of cheese on his side. Aged or fresh, soft or blue, whatever you need, he's got the brew. He's got the cures for every craving, from creamy goat cheese to sharp and amazing. No lactose, no problem, he's got the fix. Healing with cheese, oh, it's the ultimate mix. Oh, the cheese doctor, master of the curd, spreading joy with every bite, haven't you heard? From Gouda to feta and Parmesan too, the cheese doctor knows just what to do. He'll stitch up your heart with a mozzarella hug, give your soul a taste of a cheddar drug. If you got a craving, don't you despair, the cheese doctor's always right there. Oh, the cheese doctor, master of the curd, spreading joy with every bite, haven't you heard? From Gouda to feta and Parmesan too, the cheese doctor knows just what to do. So here's to the cheese doctor, the legend so true. With every bite, you'll know what to do. Healing with cheese, it's a world of delight. The cheese doctor, making everything right.
Hi everyone. Welcome once again to my YouTube show and my Instagram show and TikTok show, Ask the Cheese Doctor. This is the open window for those who want to learn how to make cheese at home or commercially. If you want to know anything about cheese, or if you're a cheese lover and you want to know about cheese making, you're in the right place. Okay? My name is Dietrich Truxes and I am also known as the Cheese Doctor. And this is my English version of the Spanish show that I do earlier at 9:30 a.m. New Zealand time. So if you speak English, welcome to my show, and I'm gonna give the same content that I give on my Spanish show. I do it also in English, so everyone can know the passion of cheese making, of course, and of course the art of cheese making. Right? Last week we spoke about a cheese, but before about a topic called standardization. Today we're gonna finish part two, and next week we're gonna come with another topic. I always come every week with a different topic about cheese making, and then I ask questions of the audience. So you have a question that you want to get clarified, just make it in the comments, and I will read it, and I will put it on, and we'll put it live, and I will answer. I will be more than happy to answer your questions. All right? Okay. We are already 53,000 subscribers. I reckon we have 8 or 7 subscribers to achieve the 53,000 mark. So thank you to you all for the support. Spread the voice that I exist, and subscribe to my channel, to all my social media, because we always are publishing new content about this beautiful art of cheese making. Um, in Instagram, we are broadcasting from Instagram to Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X not, and Facebook in my account, in my personal account on Facebook. I have a website. Sorry, I have a Facebook page called Dr. Quesero Official. Dr. Quesero Official. Um, Please like the page. And this is a brand new page because the other one was hacked, so I have to start from scratch again. So I would appreciate is the um, subscribe to this new page because I can't go live yet because I don't have enough likes. So this is what Facebook told me, so I can go live yet. But I can go live in my Facebook page. So if you are in Facebook, go over there and but I won't see your comments. But if you want to go in Instagram and YouTube, I will see your comment or and your question. So um, you're more than welcome to do so. Okay. Um, but first of all, let me say hello to everyone. Celeste, Soraya, Akros, Jorge, Yadira, Carlos, Nazareth. Nazareth, I reckon he's a friend of mine. Franca, Yadira, Yusil, Yulitza, Berbes, Leo, and yeah, and in YouTube, yeah, we have people. So I can see who's connected in YouTube. But anyway, if you want to ask a question, just do it in the comments, and I will answer to you. Right? Um, as I said, this show is in English only, and if you want to go to the Spanish show, go at 9:30 a.m. New Zealand time, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions. Right? So let's start with the presentation. Last week, let me go here. Last week we talked about the meal standardization, and we reached pretty much till the process. But I'm gonna give you like a quick review, okay, about the standardization. We talk about why it's important, this defined context, and what type of what we have to consider when we do when with the standardization. This what varies in the what parameters to consider, such as the animal breed, the feeding, the health issues, the level of fat, milking practice, and the consequences of not having a control. Standardization will get to unpredictable behavior on your populations, different type of cheeses, different of flavors, quality problems. Um, we also talk about what is the standardization, how to standardize the process, the regulatory, the requirements, what parameters do we have to standardize. We talk about the fat protein ratio, the total solid, the acidity level. It's all summarized in last week video, so you can watch it on my channel and you can have the part one, okay, without any problem. So also we spoke about the accessible techniques for artisanal cheese factory, and how the addition of cream, the milk, and the addition of skim milk powder if we're going to vary the protein ratio, ultrafiltration. These are all the techniques that we use. We spoke also about the advantage of the implementation of the standardization, which is the reduced cost, a standard product, consistency and quality, access to better markets, brand recognition, and how we also spoke about how to start this milk analysis to use with lactodensometers, pitometers, association with other producers. We spoke all about this. All right. Let me I don't remember what type of. This is the all right. We also spoke about. Wait. Let me get the presentation in English. Okay, we went to until the technique to standardize. All right, let me. Okay, carry on here. Okay, so how to start? Okay, this is that we reached till this slide. Okay, how to standardize? We could use gravity skimming. Um, Use semi-automatic skimmer, calculator mill mixing, and we also could do it mathematically. Okay, I reckon we reach to this point, and then we're gonna go to this slide, which is the protein control and acidification, which this is yeah to this one. All right. Okay. Let's talk about this slide about protein and acidity standardization. Um, for standardization of protein content, the addition of skim milk, right? When I talk skim milk, is the skim is the milk that we find in the supermarket. Of course, the one with low fat, okay? Low fat skim milk. Okay, so this skim milk method is probably the most accessible method and the cheapest. Okay, why? Because it increases the protein content without increasing much the fat content of the mixture, right? The typical dose to use is about pretty much 1 to 3% of the milk volume. I'm talking about in protein, all right? In protein, okay? It is a simple method with an accessible storable, ingredient. However, some purists may consider it less natural because we have to use powder milk, which is processed. Um, Another option is the pre-concentration by gentle or by slow evaporation using controlled heating to partially evaporate the water of the milk and proportionally increasing all these solids into your batch. All right. This method maintains native proportion between the components, although, however, it requires very meticulous temperature control and can alter the microbial properties of the milk. So we need to be careful, and we have to monitor the temperature constantly and remember, it needs to be slow evaporation. If we do it too quickly, we will denature the protein, and we're gonna have problem with our coagulation. So for the acidification control, we can what we do is we control the ripening of the milk and by the traditional method. How? Keeping the milk at a temperature of between 12 or 15 degrees, and periodically to monitor the acidity until the desired level of acidity is reached. Here, remember, this is done with raw milk. Okay. Alternatively, we can ripen the milk with specific lactic cultures. And we have to put this lactic culture before curdling the milk. Okay. These cultures are these cultures that we buy in the industry, in the market. Okay. And it developed on these are developed on these cultures are developed under very strict monitor conditions. Um, um, and when we put these cultures in our mix, okay, we have to monitor the process also, continuously, right? And what happens is that these lactic cultures feed from the lactose of the milk, right, and increase the acidity slowly. Okay, at the beginning, these cultures are sleeping because of the cold, because they are in frozen conditions. So we need to put into the milk, get them. Get the proper environments for them to wake up, and then they're going to start acidifying the milk. But this is another. If you want to know more about how the cultures behave, there is a video in my channel about lactic cultures, and just watch it, and you're gonna be able to know and to understand how these lactic cultures work. All right. Okay. Let's talk about success stories now. All right. We are. There are several cheeses. Let me give you with the slide. Let me go here. Okay, this one. Okay, okay. These stories. There are several cheeses that are that have successful stories about standardization. Okay, but before I go with these cheeses, I let me tell you that standardization is not a concept. It's not a foreign concept to the artisan cheese making tradition. For example, and it's been used for ages. Okay, it's been used for ages. Um, One example is the cheese Parmigiano Reggiano. Okay, this cheese is one of the most prestigious cheeses in the world. I love them. I love Parmigiano Reggiano. Of course, the real Parmigiano Reggiano, because there are fake ones as well. Okay, but this cheese, the Parmigiano Reggiano, has incorporated standardization practices for centuries, and they have a very strict control of the animal feed. For example, all the cows have to be fed with grass, not silage or fermented food. Okay, and this is all controlled by the consortium Parmigiano Reggiano, because the Parmigiano Reggiano is a cheese with denomination of origin. Okay, to standardize the milk have to be set overnight. Okay, so the natural the cream goes to the surface by gravity, and because the cream is lighter than the milk, so the cream will tend to go to the surface. Okay, and once the milk or the cream is on the surface, the cheesemakers skim the whole milk, all right, and then the milk, they mix it with the cream of the next day, which is a whole with have whole fat. Okay, um, the result of this milk is a level of standardization that guarantee consistency without compromising this traditional character that the Parmigiano Reggiano has, right? Um, um, Also, the Roquefort is another example, another beautiful example. I love it as well. And these are my two favorite cheeses, Parmigiano Reggiano and Roquefort. Gorgonzola, not much, but I do like it anyway. But anyway, the French Roquefort also implements this traditional standardization technique. Um, for example, they don't have a consortium per se, but they select the specific breed of the sheep. Remember that the Roquefort cheese is made with sheep milk, and there is a breed called Laucon in French. I don't know how to pronounce it in French because I'm not French. But anyway, Laucon is the main breed of sheep to get the milk for to Roquefort cheese. Also, the control of the lactation stage is very important, because in summer the level of fat changes across the line. through winter. So in winter, the level of fat is different from summer. So they consider that they need to control the lactation stage. Also, the standardization of the protein fat ratio is another element that they control it, and they make adjustment in the animal feed and a strict um, protocol for ripening the milk before curdling it, right? So all these issues, all these techniques, all these steps that the people from Roquefort cheese, that they make the Roquefort cheese in the cave in France, they follow this process, and this process not only the level of fat and stuff um, is part of the standardization process. Okay, and we're not talking about famous cheeses. We're not just talking about famous cheeses with centuries of history. Okay, now today, nowadays, the new cheesemakers, the contemporary ones, are implementing this standardization technique, and they're achieving very good results, excellent results, and managing significantly to reduce the and getting the same consistency in the product and the batches that they produce, and by getting a standard product, they are increasing their competitiveness into the market. Okay, um, yes, into the market. Okay, let's go with the next slide. Okay, this is it's a little bit slow. Okay, now let's talk about. Let me see. The standardization without losing authenticity. Okay, this is the balance. Okay, a legitimate concern is how to implement standardization practices without losing the artisanal essence of the product. This is what this slide is about. Okay, and the key is the balance. All right, the key is the balance. And first of all, we must to prioritize physical over chemical method, right? Prefer natural skimming over homogenization. And by the way, for those who for those who don't know what homogenization is, it's a process where we pass the milk from one through a membrane from one side to the other, applying strength. Okay, applying a load. We're talking about 3,000 pieces psi, and what happens over there is that the fat, the protein, everything passes through the membrane, and then when it goes to the other side, it regroup in a different way, allowing the fat not to be on top of the surface, but to be dissolved in the body of the milk, into the milk. Correct. So once the milk is homogenized, we don't see this layer of cream on top. Okay, this is good and it's bad. Okay, it's good because the milk has a better presence, it's more attractive to the consumer, but for cheese making, it's not very good. Okay, and if we use homogenized milk to make cheese, which we can, we have to put calcium chloride. This is very important. You put in that you take it in account. Okay, if you're gonna make milk with calcium, if you're gonna make cheese with homogenized milk, you have to use compulsorily calcium chloride to strengthen the let's say to strengthen the connections, which are calcium connections, between the mesols of proteins, right? Okay. As I said before, we must prioritize physical over chemical method, and prefer natural skimming over homogenization. Okay. We also have to opt for natural ripening over direct acidification. What I mean by direct acidification is by adding acid, such as vinegar, such as lactic acid, because the natural process of ripening the milk with the culture bacteria is it brings other factors because it brings enzymes to the curd and also more flavor and aroma, right? And carefully select the milk source rather than extensively modify it. Okay, we can modify the level of fat of the milk, but not too much because otherwise we're not gonna get a good product. Okay. For example, in the market there are cheeses that say that state as, for example, double cream milk, but it's not double cream in practical way, in practical terms. It's not, for example, if the milk have a fat content of 3.4, which is more or less the standard value. When we find a cheese that is double cream, it's not 6.8, it's about 4. Okay, so because too much over standardization is also not good for the cheese making process. All right. Um, the thing is that it's essential to maintain the connection with the territory, establishing standardization parameters and respect local particularities. For example, the Parmigiano Reggiano, it connected with the environment and the the cows are are fed with the grass from the area. Okay, and it has to be a type of grass, not any type of grass. It can be foliage and well and also in the lactation and on the season of the lactation is important. Okay, this all maintains connection with the environment, with the territory is the word that we use in this type of business. All right. um, this will also make by complying with these practices, we are creating an adequate product, and we are indirectly communicating this variation to the consumer as part of the value of the product that we are making, right? Um, this will um, affect our prestige. Okay, if we comply with all these procedures and by standardizing the milk correctly and try enriching an artisanal product, we're going to create a good product. We're going to create a unique one. Okay, and it will be reflect in improving on our prestige, recognition, brand recognition. Um, okay. Um, Documentation and transmission of knowledge is another crucial aspect that we have to consider. Um, for example, systematically recording observations and adjustment, training new generation in the interpretation of this data, and combining traditional methods with modern analytical tools is another way to pass the knowledge from one generation to the other. Because if we are in this business and we have to have um, a generation that carry on with the effort that we produce in our generation, right? For example, if I'm making cheese and I want to carry on with the business for 50, 60, 80 years, I have to pass the knowledge from myself to my children, if it is the case of the children, or to my employees, or someone that wants to carry on with the business from the family or whatever, any person and that we really trust, so that the business can be sustainable along the years, right? And finally, we must adopt an adaptive standardization approach. And what we have to do? Well, we have to use protocols that contemplate adjustment according to the changing conditions. What I am also developing the capacity to respond, for example, to variations into the market, creating dynamic systems instead of rigid formulas. I mean, the idea is to adapt. We have to adapt the standardization to the technology. Today, we are using artificial intelligence now. So we have to adapt to this new technology. Um, Maybe we can, in the future, we could standardize the milk using artificial intelligence. Who knows? I've been finding out information about AI and robotics in cheese making, and there are some of them. Of course, it's not, it's very incipient. It's not well developed, but we have it. I believe that in the next 10 years, we're gonna be having robots making cheese. We go over there for sure, but we have to give time to the technology, and we have to adapt all of it. We have to adapt our industry to this new process. All right. Now let's talk about regulations. Let me put the slide here. Okay, regulation. When implementing standardization practices, it is important to consider the legal framework applicable in each region. For example, in New Zealand, this is where I live, we have to comply with what is established by the Ministry of Primary Industries, or MPI. In the European Union, for example, they have the regulation EC number 83 2004. They set a specific requirement for the production of milk and dairy products. While, for example, the protected designation of origin have their own regulations and their own specification on dairy composition. Okay, of course, there are exceptions for small producers in certain aspects, but there are always minimum and safety, health and safety requirements about the cheese making process. Right? They always need to comply with something. Okay, it varies from country to country. For example, in the United States, we have the FDA. Okay, and the FDA have a set of standards of identity for different type of cheeses, and they have regulation that varies from state to state, and that affect these artisanal producers, right? In Latin America, they're not very demanding anyway. Okay, but in Latin America, and they have technical standards such as the NOM in Mexico, NOM in Mexico, or the RTCA in Central America. Okay, which establish parameters according to the fat content and stuff, and varies from country to country as well. Um, this regulation have implication for labeling. Okay, like here, we have to create our labels when we are making cheese. We have to label our product, correct? So we have to comply with certain parameters for labeling. We have to put the nutrition fact. In our case, we have to put the nutrition fact. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that in America and in Europe it's the same. They have to comply with the nutrition fact. If the product is allergic, they need to declare it and disclose it. So it's very important to comply with all these regulations, and varies from country to country. What is my suggestion? My suggestion is, if you're going to make cheese in Finland, for example, you have to get the regulation, go to the Ministry of Agriculture or the related Ministry of dairy products, and ask for the regulation to make cheese legally and commercially. And they will tell you all the parameters. The most important thing that you have to have is a food control plan. Okay, this is very important. And the food control plan will establish all the parameters that you need to comply with to have a safe product. And if you comply with this food control plan or with this cheese control plan, you will be able to sell commercially and you will comply with all these store issues that I'm talking about, which also include the standardization. All right. Um, okay, let's talk about now about the future of the standardization. All right. I'd say that the field of artisanal standardization is evolving continuously. Okay, and there are always new trends that promise to make it even more accessible and effective to the new generations of cheese making. Okay, um, increasingly accessible analytical systems are emerging now, and they are very cheap. They are very low cost. For example, we have sensors connected to mobile apps and rapid analysis equipment tailored to small volumes, for example, and platforms that collaborate by sharing data between one producer and the other. And of course, it has to be accepted by both parties. And we also are having and also seeing advantage in tradition-friendly biotechnological approaches. Starter cultures developed specifically for non-standardized milk, for example. Now we have the prebiotic coagulating enzymes tailored to different protein profiles. Um, we also have biopreservative that make it possible to work with less processed milk. Um, we have many things nowadays, and we have to adapt our companies and our personal train our personal to this new how do you call it to these new trends okay. um, Integrated traceability systems are gaining ground. For example, digital tools that connect dairy composition with cheese behavior, AI-based predictive models accessible to small producers, and technologies such as blockchains to ensure authenticity and traceability are now available for the small cheesemakers and available to produce a standard product and a quality one. Okay. Finally, the standardization um, or the future of standardization. I would say that must integrate sustainability consideration. For example, the optimization of resources, biodiversity, conservation, conservation of the resources, um, and building resilience into the climate change is also very important to consider now. Okay, we only have one Earth, and we have to consider, and all the cattle emit gases, and it will these gases contribute to the warming to the global warming, right? Um, okay, now and last one, but not last one. Okay, I can let me tell you that standardization represents much more than a technical process. Okay, it is the bridge between tradition and the future of the cheese making. Okay, to get a unique product. Okay, far from diluting the artisanal character, well conceived and implemented standardization will improve um, authenticity, it will improve quality, and it will improve connection with our clients. Okay, why? Because we're going to make a unique product, and you believe it or not, there's people interested in eating always the same type of cheese. Why? And what I mean the same type of cheese, and what I mean by that is the same quality product, the same unique product. Okay. I would say that small producers who adopt standardization practices can scale their business accordingly, and they're going to achieve, I would say, economic viability. Why? Because they're going to increase their profit along the way. Okay, and they will, by doing that, they will overcome their competitors, and the one who doesn't apply the standardization will be out of the market sooner or later. Okay. So, by summarizing, standardization emerged as a fundamental ally in the artisanal cheesemaking. Okay, allowing the cheesemakers that are creative to create products that are not in the market. Okay, so depending on the way that the cheesemakers hand manage the standardization, okay, they can achieve products that are different from the competition, and by doing that, their portfolio of clients will broaden, that will be increased, and they will be traduced in money into the pocket. Okay, and lastly, for this presentation, I'm going to invite you to go to the. Oh, sorry. What is your next step? Your next step is now go to groups, okay? Make an assessment of your current variability in your production. Get the fat, check the fat content of your milk, the protein content of your milk. If you don't have a lactodensometer, okay, take your milk more or less to the to the lab, analyze it, and based on these values, do the standardization that you need, right? Depending on the cheese that you want to achieve. Getting this information is the starting point. Okay, once you have this starting point, you can lower the fat content or the protein content ratio or increase it. In this way, you will be getting the same level of fat, the same level of protein. It will depend on the type of cheese that you're making. Okay, and what else do you can do? Go to the to groups. Okay, exchange information. There is a lot of information in my website. It's in Spanish, but you can use Google Translator, or you can get the Chrome translator, and you can have all the information in English. Okay, I have a lot of information in my website. You can visit my blog, and there are a lot of articles over there about cheese making. I have written more than 50 and increasing articles about cheese making. I have recipes. Um, I have also my podcast. Go to my post, and now I created, even though my podcast is in Spanish, all right. And you can, if you don't understand my Spanish, okay, it's fine. But I now created a podcast in English. So go to the podcast in English, so you can understand what I'm saying, what I'm talking about cheese making, all right. But you also have to, if you're gonna start, I would suggest first, watch my video about standardization. I made the numbers over there with examples. There's a video in my about the Pearson square. Go to my channel and watch this video because it's important. You will need to buy a pH meter, okay, and a thermometer. These are the two equipment that you must have. Of course, the pH meter and the thermometer, buy them, but they must allow calibration. If they don't allow calibration, it's a waste of money. Don't buy it. So you can go to Amazon, eBay. You can also buy in my website. The thing is that in my website, I have product that I have already tested. So it's a guarantee that they're gonna work. Okay, and I don't put a product if I don't test it first. So go to my website, and you will get this product And if you call me, I'll give you a coupon code, okay, with 5%, 10% discount. Don't worry about it. Okay. Of course, if you have the resources, you can also buy a lactodensometer. But lactodensometer is a little bit expensive. But this instrument is very important if you're making cheese in a big scale, because you're going to know the even though the milk, because the milk varies day by day and month by month, because of the state of the lactation, as I told you before in the presentation. With the lactodensometer, you can measure in seconds the level of fat, the level of protein, the level of lactose, and then you can make the adjustment according to what you need, according to the cheese that you are making. And in this way, you can get every time the same quality product, the same product with the same fat content, the same protein content, etc. Okay. You also can get bibliography in the media. Okay, and there are go to the FAO. There is this is an organization that is also have good information. And if you have problems, give me a call. Just follow me on my social media and send me a message through Instagram or through WhatsApp. My phone number is in WhatsApp. Sorry, my phone number is in Instagram, so you can call me, send me a message, and I will answer you. Okay. Also, follow me in my Facebook page, in my Dr. Quesero official page, and I will answer your questions as well. Of course, and also in YouTube. If you send me a message, for sure I will answer your message. I answer all the messages that I receive. Okay, so yeah, and you're gonna be one of them as well. Okay, I reckon this is it. Let me see what I have left. Well, I have questions here, but before the questions, if you want to know a little bit more about cheese making, I invite you to take my basic cheese course for beginners, which is in English. All right, it's totally online, and I will be asking questions through WhatsApp, depending of the license that you get. All right. If you get the cheapest license, okay, which is I reckon $15 per month, because it's a membership, and you use it until you need it. You don't need to be 2 or 3 years with me paying me. No, 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 no. You just go. If you need the course for 3 months, pay for 3 months. Each $15 per month. 3 months, $45. That's it. This is your course. This is the price of your course. You don't need it anymore. Just don't pay more, and we unsubscribe. Okay, how to get it? Just go to the QR code here, and what are we gonna teach over there? We're gonna teach the base. It's a very easy course. We're gonna teach the basic of artisanal cheese making, the technique, the millennial technique of cheese making. All right, all the secret that I've known and I've learned along these 12 years making cheese, and I'm gonna give you recipes for 5 cheeses. This is gonna be your first step in this cheese making journey, right? So, but also if you want to carry on growing as a cheesemaker, if you want to learn more, because these cheese that I'm gonna make that I teach here are very basic. For example, we teach how to make mozzarella, we teach how to make fresh cheese, ricotta, I reckon butters as well, yogurt, feta. But if you want to learn how to make Parmigiano or Parmigiano Reggiano type, because Parmigiano Reggiano is only one. If you want to make Roquefort or blue cheese, or if you want to learn how to make Munster or Gouda, etc., you will need this other course that is my coaching show, my coaching program for cheesemakers. All right, and this is pretty much if you want to form a business. All right. So let's go then with the questions. I have several questions here in the channel, and I'm going to answer it. And once I answer it, we leave. Okay. Here is this guy always comes. This guy, hello, Pascual. Hello, what's your name? My name is Dietrich Truxes, and I'm known as the cheese doctor. All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you for your feedback, Pascual. All right. In Instagram, you see how we are. Yadira, she's asking me in Spanish. No, I don't. I'm not gonna speak in Spanish. Yadira, if you want to speak in Spanish, go to my channel in Spanish, all right, at 9:30 a.m. New Zealand time, and I will answer you in Spanish. No problem. Okay, I expect this to happen because the this show is in English only, okay, and I expect only English speaker to attend the show, which is fine, all right. Select ranking always come with this message, but it's not relevant, so I'm not gonna answer. I'm not gonna answer anything. But I have 3 or 4 questions here. Here I have this person, Joao. It says, "Greeting, doctor. Can I use brine for fresh goat cheese? For how long and how much? And finally, should the curd be unsalted?" All right, look, Joao. I reckon you're Brazilian, right? Anyway, yes, you can use brine for goat fresh cheese. Okay, this is the most important thing that you need to know. And if you're going to put your cheeses in brine, of course, the curd doesn't have to be salted. Okay, so it needs to be unsalted, right? So you made the cheese with a curd, way off your, or take all the way out, put it in the mold, press it. If you want, if this is the case that you're gonna press the cheese, take it out from the mold, all right, and then put it in brine. Okay, it's very feasible. You can do it. There is no problem at all. Now, for how long? It will depend of the size of the cheese. There are 2 criteria. One criteria is 1 kilo, 1 day per kilo. This is one criteria. The second criteria is the number, the diameter in inches multiplied by the height in inches. Let's say, for example, if my cheese is 6 inches diameter, okay, and the height of the cheese is 4 inches, 6 times 4 is 24. 1 day. You leave it for 24 hours. All right? 1 day. Of course, this might vary according to your taste. If you consider that is too low, start calibrating and leave it more. But this is 2 criteria. You can choose whichever you want. All right? So pretty much. And how much? How much is the brine? The brine should be 26-25%, which means that you're gonna put 25 grams of salt per 100 milliliters of brine solution. Okay, this is pretty much the concentration. Remember, it's not 25 grams per 100 milliliters of water. No, it's 25 grams per 100 milliliters of brine solution. Which brine solution? When I mean by brine solution is the mixture of salt and water. Okay, this all already dissolved. This is very important that you consider. Okay, let's go with the second question. Sinotrosa. What is the amount of rennet per liter of milk to make express mozzarella? Very easy. Put 0.7 milliliters per liter of milk. All right? Start with this. Of course, it will depend on the strength of the rennet that you are using. The stronger the rennet, the less rennet you have to use. But in general terms, I buy a rennet, a liquid rennet, and I don't remember the strength, but I use 0.7 milliliters per liter of milk, which means if you're going to make 10 liters of milk, okay, you will need 7 milliliters of rennet. If you put a little bit more, 8, it doesn't matter, okay? So you can put 7, 8, doesn't matter. Of course, don't put too much because otherwise your cheese will get bitter and you're gonna have their off flavor. So, but you can start with this number: 0.7 milliliters of rennet per liter of milk, and then start calibrating the amount. If you notice that the curd doesn't coagulate quick, I mean, you have to coagulate it in the coagulation period is more or less 1 hour. If in 1 hour the milk hasn't coagulated yet, is because you're putting too few rennet, so you have to put more. Okay, so increase the amount to one milliliter per liter, and so on. Don't reach and carry on increasing up to 1.5 milliliters per liter. Don't put more than that because I reckon your cheese will get bitter. If you see that at 1 milliliter per liter your rennet is not curdling the milk, it's not coagulating the milk, it means that your rennet is denatured, it's expired. So you need to use another type of rennet, all right? Or a new one, because this one might be denatured and expired. All right. This question now, Jose Juan Garcia. And these are asked questions from the Spanish course, but I'm translating in English so you guys understand and you guys can know the knowledge as well, because it's important. Even though they're asking questions in Spanish, I want you to have this knowledge in English so you can learn. Right? Okay. He asked, why when I make Oaxaca cheese is a cheese from Mexico, the cheese spread out when I put hot water in it, and why is that? It happened for two reasons. The first reason, maybe the acidity of your curd is not the correct one. You have to have the acidity, or your curd must have an acidity, um, or a pH level between 5.1 and 5.3. Okay, this is the acidity, the pH level that you need to reach, more or less. Of course, it will depend on the level of calcium. There should be a balance between calcium and the acidification process. When the milk is raw, the calcium content is native into the milk. So maybe you can get a wider bandwidth, okay? Maybe the acidification would be from pH 4.8 to 5.4, for example, all right? Because the milk was raw and your level of calcium is bigger, you have more calcium into the milk. But when we are working with pasteurized milk, the pasteurization tends to dissolve about the calcium in pretty much 15%. So you need to you need to consider these parameters between 5.1, 5.3, maybe 5.0. It will depend. Or sometimes even in 5.2, your cheese starts to stretch, which is fine. This is the ideal case scenario. All right. But sometimes, because if the calcium is too much if the milk is too much pasteurized, maybe you can get this, you can start stretching at 5.4, outside of the parameter, because you have a very low amount of calcium because your milk was over pasteurized. Who knows? You have to start checking at 5.3. All right. And the last question is, greeting David, greeting doctor, for provolone, provolera caciocavallo cheese. Is lipas added to the formulation like Parmesan? Yes. you have to use lipase or lipase to them to your milk. Okay, how are you going to add the lipase? Okay, it's not going taking because the lipase comes in a powder. The lipase is an enzyme that will break down the fat the triglycerides of the milk, it will break down the fat globules. All right, so the fat globules in the milk comes in triglycerides. But anyway, that's another story. The thing is that the lipase, will break down the fat globules of the milk, and it will improve the flavor. Okay, it will give your cheese a buttery flavor, which is good, right? How to use it? Get the enzyme, dissolve it in water, okay, and let it ripen for 20 minutes. Once it's ripened for 20 minutes, put into the milk, okay? Then put into the milk and carry on with the process, and that's it. This is what you need to do. Okay, I'm looking at myself, and I see that I am a little bit blurry with the image. All right, it is what it is. Okay, this is it. I reckon I don't have more questions. Right now, I don't have more questions. Let me see if in Instagram I have questions, and then if I don't have anything else, we leave. All right. That's it. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Spread the voice that I exist. All right. Remember, this show is in English. Spread the voice. If someone from China or from Hindi or from Saudi Arabia, they speak English, or from anywhere from UK that wants to learn how to make cheeses, or South American cheeses, because I teach how to make South American cheeses as well. But if they want to make cheeses, spread the voice, tell them that I exist, so they can learn as well. Okay, and if you follow me, you're going to be only one cheese away to change your life for good. Okay, thanks to cheese making. See you next week. Bye bye.
With a twist of fate, the cheese doctor's here. It's never too late. With a wheel of brie and cheddar so fine, he knows every flavor, every design. He's got the cures for every craving, from creamy goat cheese to sharp and amazing. No lactose, no problem. He's got the